Today, we talk about how to build a championship team. Tune in. Good morning. Thank you for joining me, Coach Michael, on your Monday morning. 44 years ago, I moved to South Florida. And I remember asking somebody, hey, do you have hockey on TV down here? And they looked at me like I was from another planet. You see, I grew up on skates as a little kid. I played hockey all my life until I came here. I was super excited when Phil Esposito brought the Tampa Bay Lightning to Tampa. We were getting close. And then in 1993, the Florida Panthers come. My wife and I had season tickets to the Miami Arena. My daughter went to her first game at 3 years old. I love hockey. And only now, years later, have we been rewarded with back-to-back Stanley Cup championship team. But there's a blueprint that has been being laid since the pandemic, 2020, where the Florida Panthers named Bill Zito the general manager of the Florida Panthers. Of course, risky move. What did Bill Zito do prior to that? He was a sports agent, talking to players about joining certain teams. However, when Bill Zito became the general manager, he had a certain vision. And that's the first thing a leader must have is a vision. They need to be clear on where they're going. Andrew Brunette became an interim coach in 2021, early in the season. He went on to have the best record ever for the Florida Panthers, winning the President's Cup trophy. What is the President's Cup trophy? It's the best record in the NHL for the year. Now, any other general manager would have made that coach the head coach of the team. Bill Zito? No. He let him go and hired Paul Maurice in 2022 to replace him. Everyone else in the hockey community thought he was crazy. The guy is nuts. Any other general manager would have taken that interim coach and made him the head coach because he just produced the best record ever for the team. But they lost in the first round of the playoffs. Bill Zito wanted a championship team, not just a team that had great records. What did Bill Zito do next after he hired Paul Maurice? He traded the number one best scoring player away with two other draft picks for Matthew Tkachuk in July of 2022. Another risky move that everybody else was saying he's crazy. But here's the culture of the Florida Panthers. Everybody trusts everybody. Bill Zito trusts the scouts to find the right players. Paul Maurice, the coach, trusts the scouts and Bill Zito to give him the right players. Paul Maurice coaches those players up. He tells them, just be yourself. We're going to find room for you. You are part of this organization because you fit the mold. Be yourself. He puts them in the locker room, and the players make the players better. So the whole team grows together. So here's something interesting to think about. Everybody trusts everybody, from the general manager to the scouts to the coach to the players amongst the players. And here's something most interesting. Every single player that has been drafted to the Florida Panthers that had played for previous teams have had their best statistics and years as Florida Panthers. Is that a coincidence? I think not. So how is that? You have a team that has zero egos. No egos. They're playing for everybody else. They're in alignment with each other. The entire organization is in alignment with each other. They have a culture of hard work, being the toughest team in the NHL to play against. And what happens? They get to lift the cup 2 years in a row. The most prized trophy in all of sports. The most difficult grind as a player to go through to win the cup. The Florida Panthers have played more games in the last 2 years than any other team in the NHL. They've logged more miles than any other team in the NHL. They have put in the work. And what happens usually when you're about to win the cup? You're ahead by a few points. There's a minute left. The coach puts the top line on the ice so they could be the first players to celebrate. But not Paul Maurice, not the Florida Panthers. He tells the fourth line how they've worked so hard to be part of this winning team that they will play the last shift. And then when they raise the cup, what usually happens? The star players, the big names, are the first to skate around and raise the cup. But the captain of the Florida Panthers, nah, not the Florida Panthers. He gives it to the players that have never experienced winning the Stanley Cup. He gives it to them first. Culture, alignment, everyone playing for each other, no egos. That's how you become a championship team. And then what happens? Bill Zito signs the 3 top agents that could have went anywhere else. Sam Bennett, who was a #1 scoring player in the league in the playoffs, could have went anywhere else and got twice as much money. But no. All 3 of them settled for less to stay a Florida Panther because of the culture. What now? Well, they've got their core people locked up for quite some time. And all they want to do now is create history and be a dynasty. And is go down as one of the best teams ever. There's your blueprint of a championship team. Vision, culture, alignment, no egos, everyone playing for everybody else, and everyone going in the right direction. Florida Panthers, I salute you. You are the champions. As always, I want to thank you for joining me, Coach Michael, on your Monday morning. Hopefully this has been a valuable lesson and you took some keys from it that you can implement in your organization to be a champion. See you next time.